Welcome to Fantasy French and your French class gamified. Here in this presentation, I'd like to explain to you how we are gamifying our French class. So here in this class, you'll be taking part of an intricately designed game. In many video games, you complete certain tasks that advance you toward a particular goal. Now, what most teachers will tell you in the first day of school is you come in and you have an A in the class. But what they don't tell you is that you can only go down from there. In a gamified class, you come in and you start at 0. But where can you go from there? You can only go up. So as you increase your levels and your points, you're moving up. There is no going down in the gamified class. Here is a little explanation of the general levels of Fantasy French and how it goes. We start off at level 1, and in level 1 we don't have any rewards, but the incentives get better as you move up in levels. So at level 2, you have a homework pass up to 10 points. Level 3, you can then use a post-it note on a quiz. Level 4, extra life on a quiz. Level 5, 5 minutes to use notes on a quiz, and so on and so forth. Please understand that as you go up in levels, it takes more points in order to move up into the levels, and the rewards get better. So, what I want you to understand is that you are no longer a student in this French class, but you are a gamer. Some helpful rules for players of the gamified class to understand are: players, meaning the students, are always playing the game and have the opportunity to earn points that will help increase levels. Meaning, just because you are finished with the class and the bell rings, you leave the classroom, that the game is now over. This is incorrect. You always have the opportunity to choose to be a part of the game and engage by doing many different things that we will discuss later on. There are external rewards for increasing levels. Some rewards are specific for each character, while others are general for the class. Some of the specific character rewards are powers or player powers that can be used on others within your established guild or small group. When you haven't achieved certain levels within the game, you may use your player powers on yourself when indicated in the reward. And yes, there are powers that each player has. Some more player rules are: the rules of engagement in the game will remain consistent, yet if any changes arise, all players will be notified in advance. So no rules can be changed at last minute. All rules must be withheld and adhered to, and rules might change, but only in the future once prior notice has been given. You may also choose to grant a gift to another player with one of your rewards. Again, those will be indicated on the reward sheet for specific players. The ways to earn points in the game are truly limitless, and that is something that every student needs to understand, is that all players are asked to be creative as possible and be able to come up with different ways in order to play the game. So players are asked to go ahead and do particular additional things in order to earn game points. Some of these things are viewing videos, movie clips, news clips, and write synopses in French. Creating voice threads in French on your topic of interest. So here, some of the things that are being asked of the players is to build upon one's strengths. As long as you are manipulating the language and the grammar structures that we are going over in class, you can earn points towards the game and move you up levels. Other things that you can do are reporting news articles in French and writing synopses, writing additional essays, notes, or presentations from other classes in French. You can also start up a discussion thread on Edmodo within your guild on a topic of interest. Plus, posting self-made videos on a topic of interest in French or narrating an animated story in French. Of course, there are many other ways that that players can make points within the game in Fantasy French. However, it is all up to them. So now is where you get to be your own character. And this is where the fun part comes in. So the first character that you get to choose is a bard. The characteristics and powers of a bard are the bard is an eloquent communicator and musician, so that the bard can also provide extra percentage points to oral presentations or musical assignments. They can also provide keys to assessment traps. On assessments, there will be particular cultural questions that sometimes are very random or that have been discussed in class, and those keys can then unlock the answers to those particular questions. The second character is the ranger, and the ranger has the characteristics of a high constitution or skill and perseverance, definitely a very strong character, one who has increased endurance and extension of due dates for oneself or the guild. So here, the ranger, once they build up in levels, can then cash in or use their powers to extend due dates, either for themselves or for their group. The third character is the sorcerer. The sorcerer is a learned player with extensive knowledge and intelligence. He or she can cast various spells like foresight and invisibility that affect oneself and others. An example of like an invisibility spell might be an invisible homework. So for example, if that player forgets to do the homework for that day, they can cast a spell onto the teacher and of invisibility, and now the teacher does not see that homework and so has to give that student or player a perfect score for that homework. The fourth player is the healer. And the healer is also a very important character, one that has connections to the divine. The divine meaning, aka the teacher or the master within the realm of the game. The healer is also a good group supporter, granted with the ability to give lives to others and oneself. And in assessments, there is the idea of lives, whereas you lose a life for any errors in the assessment, but they can earn lives back, or they can provide lives to others sometimes when they are needed. So what's really interesting is it's all about choice. So here it's good to choose your fantasy persona, but each player needs to choose it wisely and consider the powers that each character has. So here is an example of the breakdown of specific player levels of Fantasy French. So depending on what character you play, you have different personal powers upon the general rewards that all students or all players have as they move up levels. By doing so, we are we as teachers are then providing incentive to the students in order to really inspire them to go above and beyond in the game and in the class. So, to give you an idea of what some of the powers are, again, the points are very tough to get to. However, depending on the motivation of the student or player within the game, it's very possible to get high levels and then get very nice rewards or powers. So, again, Fantasy French is all about incentive, it's all about choice. And so now your journey begins.